there, it's Alex McPhail. Welcome once again. When people first hear that I'm a pilot, a common first response is, oh cool, like Top Gun. But today I want to share a story with you about pilots working in teams and not out on their own like fighter pilots. Before I get there, I want to ask you who can recognize this airport. If you know the name of this airport, please type it in the comments there and we'll get back to it shortly. In continuing with the tradition of talking about a nice book about aviation, this is a fantastic book I want to share with you today. It's called Riding Rockets by Mike Mullane. Mike Mullane was one of the first group of 35 space shuttle astronauts. It's humorous, it's easy to read, it's enjoyable, it's insightful. And one of the reviews that was written about it says, "This is not your father's astronaut memoir." It's a very down-to-earth human description of events, and it takes the astronaut off the pedestal and replaces them with someone more human, and it's a bit more relatable. It's a fantastic read. I really recommend you get it. Another real page-turner if you've got any interest in the space shuttle program and the astronaut's point of view from a real human perspective. Go get yourself a copy of Riding Rockets. Right, on to the topic of the day. So, how do pilots work in teams? Well, I want to show you a little video clip which was running at the top of the show, and I want to ask you a question now. Have a look at this time-lapse video, courtesy of Pressburg2222 from another YouTube channel. This is a Ryanair aircraft that's parked at Bratislava. And remember now, Ryanair is a real low-cost carrier. It's one of the major low-cost carriers in the world. They do, at all costs, they take opportunities to reduce any services that will arrive at the airplane. And why do they do that? It's to shorten the turnaround time. So if this is an example of the least amount of services that could arrive at a large passenger aircraft, this being a Boeing 737-800, you have a look now and tell me what services you see here. And we'll have a discussion afterwards. Are you ready? Let's go. Type in the comments what services you see and we'll take it from there. So there you can see the aircraft is parked on the bay, and this will be about 2 minutes later it'll turn around. I see you guys, some guys have already answered the question of the airport. It is indeed Cape Town. Thank you Moment please for sharing. Have a look at this video now and see what you can see. There you can see the passengers getting on again, and it's almost time to get going. Obviously this is in time-lapse, but Ryanair are famous for their short turnarounds. I think some of their turnarounds are stand corrected, but somewhere in the order of 18 minutes, which is very fast indeed to take 180 odd people off and on an airplane once again. See, it's almost time they're going to get going again. And off they go. Right, so there you can see lots of things, lots of buzz, lots of excitement happening around an airplane right there. And I see some of you are putting your answers in. Please join the conversation, add the answers. Remembering what I said earlier, Ryanair is famous for using as little services as possible. So the buzz and the activity that you saw around this airplane is as little as it could be. I see Marie has asked, are you going to be a captain? Yes, I hope to be a captain one day soon, Marie. Thank you. And getting some answers. It is buses and stairs. And Spencer says people. Yes, people. Well, I suppose they are the essential cargo, so that would be true. So we've got buses, we've got stairs, we've got people. Kyle says refueling, baggage handling, onboarding. So that can be the person helping the people get on board. Aircraft maneuver ground staff and technical. That's great. So we're up to 8 items now. Tug, that's it, 9 items. I've got a few more, and there's a couple of them that you didn't see in this picture, but if you know a little bit more about flying, you'll know about those services that go on in the background which you won't see from a video camera. So we had 9. See if we can get a few more. I've listed 16, but maybe some of you can even find more than that. Keep them coming. All right, let me hint at some of the ones that you won't see to get you thinking along the lines of what you have seen as well. So when you move around an airport at any time, you are under the guidance of air traffic control. They'll give you your clearances to get start, clearances to taxi, and clearances to get airborne. So that's a service that's there at the airplane. That brings us up to 10 now. Another service which will be there, which is unseen at this point, will be dispatch. You'll have some operations on the ground which will send you either via an electronic message printed out on your airplane, or somebody would actually bring you some papers while you're sitting on the airplane and bringing your dispatch documentation. And another one that is also unseen but is evident on this beautiful clear day is the weather. Weather services, making sure that your departure, en route and destination, plus destination alternate weather, is also all there, reliable and valid information for the day. So we're up to about 12 now. Let me fill you in with the last couple of services, what I've got that you didn't see. Right in the beginning, and you can see it on this transition right at the start there, there comes that yellow car. Did you see it? That is the follow me car. So that's the first one. Then you got a man who puts the chocks in. After that, you have the ground power. There's a chocks, ground power, and technician could be done by one person, you might say, but it's a lot of work to do, and to make this turnaround as quick as possible, here it's 3 different roles. There's the stairs, quite correctly said, the refueler. The baggage handling, yes, that's one part, the person throwing the bags. There's someone who drives the conveyor belt. There's someone who drives the baggage trolley to take those bags back to the terminal. We've got the buses, which you mentioned. And if you're not too familiar, those people in the orange that were running around there at the bottom right of the screen is the ramp agent. They are the person that coordinates all these services and allow you to either start or stop, or they can basically put the brakes on the operation should everything need to wait, and they can also tell you when it's time to go. So that's quite a key role, is the ramp. And there was some cleaning services. There was a van that arrived at the back of the aircraft, and that was, Ryanair is also quite famous for getting the cabin crew to do the cleaning up on board, but they would all end up in one sort of trash bag, and somebody came on board and grabbed that bag of trash and put it in their van and drove off. Spencer says a blue thing, like a GPU, the ground power unit. Yes, that's it. Great. Thank you, Spencer. You're doing great there today. Remember, I must send you some badges for your enthusiasm and participation. And what else do we get? The cleaning services. And the last thing there is the tug. And thank you. I see you. That's been written. So the tug pushes you out once again for the start. Airplanes generally don't reverse, but they park in straight and have to get out of the parking bay once again. So that brings us to the tug. Okay, so you can see just from this little operation right here, a simple thing of arriving, offloading, loading again, that there's quite a lot of services that require for this crew to turn around. And in order for this thing to work, a lot of airlines use this principle called, and maybe some other airlines call it something else, they all use a similar principle called the precision time schedule. So there's a person that is also sitting around there watching when each service arrives at this aircraft, and they write it down in their little book to the minute. And those are the metrics that are used to make sure that this precision time schedule is followed and that the aircraft can turn around as quick as possible. And the main thing for that is the start of the day. You might have one of those very early 5:30, 6 o'clock flights departing from home base, and it could be a 1.5, 2 hour flight away with a turnaround to come back again, that same airplane. It will turn around once again and go back again to another airport. Sometimes the crew change in between. Crew generally fly about 3 or maybe 4 flights on a busy domestic schedule in one day, but the airplane may fly a few more times in the day too. If you have a slow turnaround at your first turning point, that will cause a ripple effect. It's not easy to catch up those minutes that are lost along the way. So it's important to stick to the schedule, and the precision time schedule will help all these services coordinate themselves at the aircraft and then allow the aircraft to depart on time. So that's really the reason for the precision time schedule. And a couple of years ago, I can't remember exactly, 4, 5, 6 years ago, South African Airways was the proud recipient of the most on-time airline in the world, and that was a great achievement. So pilots do work in teams, and they are actually unable to do their work unless they have the support of the teams that are going around them. So despite what you may feel or think about what it's like to be a hotshot pilot in the Air Force or a Top Gun Maverick situation, It's all teamwork. And even if you look at those examples of military flying, the Top Gun had his weapon operator behind him, and they never fly off in one aeroplane by themselves. They're always in a formation, and that's the teamwork that's going on there. Besides that, the fighter pilot will also have communication with somebody on the ground, and they're known as a mission controller, and that person will be scanning the radar screen to see if there's any enemy aircraft and guiding the pilots onto the strike. So as you can see, pilots do work in teams, and it's a great bit of teamwork, and we are not able to do anything without the team, and it's important to foster good teamwork and good team relations. And we haven't even started speaking about the onboard operation. The pilots will coordinate and organize the flight from A to B, but once you're on board, the cabin crew is going to manage anything that happens behind the cockpit door. If there's anything to do with passenger issues, whether it's unruly or disruptive or ill passengers, or any emergency requirement, treating passengers, or in an emergency evacuation scenario once on the ground, opening the doors and getting passengers off, that is all the domain of the crew. And once again, it's essential to have a great working relationship with this team of up to 18 crew members on a big international flight. The pilots have their part to play, flying the airplane from A to B, but all the other services have an essential part too. Thank you for all tuning in, and I want to just go back to this picture once again. The answer was given right up at the top of the show, and it is correct. It is Cape Town International Airport, and you can see some of the big international airplanes there in the foreground, and the terminal just behind it with the back of Thames Mountain there in the distance. So I want to thank you for tuning in once again, and as always, 14 minutes at 1400 every weekday while we continue on this lockdown phase. Please sign in. Please subscribe to the show. Share it with all your friends. Click on that subscribe button in the bottom corner right now and share it with your friends. Share it wide. Ask me your questions. Post them in now, and we can continue the conversation and answer questions that you want answered. So, till next time, stay safe, and I'll see you again.